Look at this little beauty. Do not believe that just happened. Hello, hope you're well. Look where I am for the first time in a month from time of recording since I've been here. Right then, apologies because this has been, well, no doubt will be, because I know what I've got to do in there. It's going to be a long time since this video from the last one, so I apologise. Reason for that is that Easter came and went. I went away. Kids were off obviously for 2 weeks, so that took a toll from being here. And also, the world keeps turning, doesn't it? So I've had to go and do other jobs in the meantime to keep the lads working, keep the money flowing, in order to come back here to spend the money and do on this job. So I'm here now, and here we are. So what's been going on then since last time you saw us? Well, we've managed to team up with Professional Builder magazine, and which has made a lovely little video reviewing the Festool circular saw. This is the thumbnail for it, the link of which is in the description. Bit of a niche video, it's really for people who really want to buy one of those kind of things. So not for everybody, but you might want to watch it. You get to see him. Why not, eh? And also, some bad news really. I had, back end of April, an old friend of mine passed away. He's only 44, 2-year battle with cancer. He was lovely fella. Ken Wong was his name. Leaves behind a wife, 2 kids. As I say, he was only 44. He was a firefighter, joined the West Mids, transferred to Warwickshire, I believe, and then Cheshire. So he may well have served the communities of which you're sat in now watching this video. And I think one of his colleagues, he set up a GoFundMe page just for his family, just for a bit of money for them to spend on whatever it is that they want. So if you fancy helping out somebody you've never met and probably never will, then the link of which for his GoFundMe page is in his description. But as I say, he was a lovely fella, and he was sadly missed. Right then, so moving on. What's behind you, in front of me, is a kitchen floor and all the other floor that needs ripping out, getting ready for concrete. That's the goal of this video, getting it all ready for concrete. So here we go. Right, there we have it. I imagine that was going to be a little bit of a tricky one. It wasn't too bad actually, especially not with that beast. Beautiful. But one of the reasons we wanted to do this was just to see what we were playing with in terms of, for all I knew, this could have been a brand new concrete floor, 6 inches thick, reinforced. You know what I mean? The things and nightmares are made of. But we're all right. Look, looks like we got some kind of latex. Two layers, by the look of it, on top of quarry tiles. So, which means that's the original floor, which means underneath that is just dirt and ash, mate. Ash, isn't it? That is, yeah, ash and dirt, and basically, in short, easy stuff to shovel. So, a bit of a breaking out sesh. Get all the hard stuff gone, and then just dig away to our heart's content. Or me back snaps, one of the two. Right then. So, let's get this going. How long do you think it's going to take? Place your bets now, because even I won't know until the end of this time lapse. So, buckle in, enjoy the music, and let's get it going. Hold on. Before we get carried away, I just thought I'd give this a go. I got a bit curious. I'll just put the pry bar under it. Maybe you can see the movement in this. You see that? The whole thing's moving, because what this is, under closer inspection, that 10-15mm there is bitumen, I reckon. Yeah, you can see it there, look, which would have been put down as like a damp proof course. Obviously then completely sealing in everything underneath it and keeping it really damp, and that is visibly wet, and you can feel it. I mean, that's like an otter's pocket, that is. That's soaking. But which means it's moving, look, because it looks like it's completely delaminated off these quarry tiles, which in turn means I might be able to get a good few out completely intact, which would be beautiful, because we can use them around the house, definitely. They look very nice in the hearth, don't they, around there in the fireplace. So I might just take this a little bit, look at that, Takes a little bit slower, this bit. Try and get as many out as I can, then go for it. Either way, cue the music. Well, the good news is my neighbours still like me because I haven't had to use that beast. Because as you've seen, I was right about that bitumen just delaminating. Comes straight off it, clean as a whistle. It's amazing really, considering what that sticks to, and that's just come straight off. So I've got one of them to play with now. Just simply on a bed of, well, a bit of nothing. Sand and whatever. That's all that is. It's the reason why it's all over the place, look. But there we go. And then underneath here was this Minton floor, which we knew about from the by the, what's it called, where you walk out your house, front door. We uncovered that, didn't we? And this, as I've said in previous episodes, would have been a corridor straight to the front door. So there we go. But just like the ones by the front door, they are smashed and unsalvageable, unfortunately. I might get the odd one out, but what I'll do with that, I don't know. So unfortunately, I think I'll be getting rid of them, which is a crying shame, but the damage was done before me. So I will lift all that up now. Once the boiler starts draining, I'll get that out of the way. I'm hoping to sell that, who knows. And yeah, get them stacked. What am I going to do with them now? What am I going to do? I'm thinking maybe behind that wall out in the garden, at the far end, follow that fence line through, right in front of us, there's a gate that goes down to the driveway. So I might lift these up, take them outside, and lay them as a path all the way down. In fact, that's what I'm going to do. You see if I don't, but that's way down the line. So get them up, get them out of the way, start digging. Here we go. We shall see. Right, skipper's just arrived. That is a 10-yarder. So it's the biggest I could go with what we're putting in it, because a 12-yarder, she said on the phone, would be too heavy for filling it with soil, which is basically what we're doing for the wagon. So that's as big as we could go. I'll explain the financial differences between that and having a grab in a second. This is all the bitumen stuff that came out. It's thick, it's incredibly heavy, stinks of tarmac, so it's definitely bitumen or something, but there we go. So that's all got to go in, and I'm going to start digging. So once again, not for the first time, let's cue the music. Right, well, you may notice it's Mick and Rich were here digging all that out for me. That's because the way things are at the moment with delays on certain jobs, I went and completed another job yesterday. So Mick and Rich were here digging this out. Now I've completed that job, that means they can go back there and carry on putting the roof on, that sort of thing. So the ball keeps rolling. So that's where we are at the minute, just here, there and everywhere. So apologies for that. Right, I shall turn you around. I shall show you what they've managed to achieve, which I'm very impressed with, and then we'll carry on ourselves. Right, what did they achieve? Well, they achieved everything they literally could, which is ace. They've dug that out, as you can see, as you saw it in the time lapse as well. Got that half out that was over there. I'll show you this now, actually. What, people of YouTube, was that, do you reckon? That's solid concrete, good few inches thick, so it's not original, but then there's like a waste pipe there, so maybe this is where the sink was. But whenever we've had original waste pipes in the house before, in this type of house, it's all been the 4-inch clay coming out in here and then tapped into. But I don't know what that is. It goes into a cast iron pipe outside, which again I've never seen. Usually it's all underground if it's, you know, the waste and whatnot. So, don't know. Either way, it's got to be capped off. So that's that. Then they even managed to break out this corridor down here. Heartbreaking, really, throwing those tiles away, but as you've already said, non-salvageable. They got rid of this shower tray that was there and exposed the fact that, unbeknownst to me, is a suspended floor. I thought it was solid. It felt solid anyway, especially considering that's where the stairs were originally. And this floor's solid and that floor's solid and the stairs going on there. You think that would be, but it wasn't. But that's as interesting as that gets. Got some brand new pink buckets, which they even, when I said literally, have achieved all they could. They filled the skip up to the rim and then filled the buckets up here, ready to go in a new one, which is outside, which brings my total skip tally to date to, I know, it's horrible, isn't it? What a horrible figure that is. But this one, unfortunately, does not come approved by a higher entity. No notes on this one. So that's today's then. That's today's task, is to fill this with this and that and all that's around there, and then maybe we can make a start on this. Right then, let's get to it. Well, there we go, all dug out. Oh, fairly simple, really. No concrete or anything like that. A little bit of a wall there, but that was it, just soil. So, time consuming, but, you know, not particularly difficult. I did try and get this out. My plan was to maybe just give ourselves a bit of a head start and get it back to about there, in order to keep the emergency toilet intact, just in case. Because I don't really want to play the old pick a tree, any tree game just yet over the woods. So, but the way that deck is constructed, I can't. So I've cleaned it all up, got wherever I can out from underneath, and I'll just leave it intact for now. What I did find, which I forgot to tell you about, when I was digging this area out, underneath the original intact quarry tile floor, and these little bad boys, look, 2 little spoons, which, because they're under the floor, I presume they're the builder spoons, maybe cups of tea or something. Maybe 120 years ago, something like that. With a chain as well. So there we go. So I'm going to get some, try and polish them up a little bit and see what comes of that. I'm going to do a full video once we get to the end of this little project. God knows when that'll be, but it'll full video on what I've saved out of the house now, how I've repurposed it. But I'm going to repurpose them. What do you reckon? Maybe the world's quietest door knocker, or a nice pair of earrings for the wife. It's a birthday coming up. Nothing but the best. What do you reckon? You know, the old saying, a spoon's a spoon. But it'd be nice to polish them up and keep them. It's part of the house. Anyway, right, what's next? As I say, all this is done. It's all in the skip. I've got my rubbish out from over there. So what's next now is getting this floor out, which I've just had a bit of a pick at. But let's face facts. You don't really want to see any more digging, do you? We've got a lot more stuff to get on with. So how about we do the old clicky thing, and then all this will be gone. And there we have it, all dug out. So nothing untoward in there, just more soil. Hold on, big step down. Did all that all by myself. No one's helped me at all. Oh, hello, Rich. Yeah. See, his purpose is not saying anything because he knows I change his voice when he says hello. Right, the only thing left to do now, the last undiscovered part of the house, is what's behind that board. It's going to take a little bit more out of there and then basically leave it. There's no point digging it all out because the stairs, which will be removed, are going to go back in the same sort of place. There's going to be a toilet here, so if anything, that wall is going to be brought forward towards us this way. So enough floor, beg your pardon, has been taken out really. So I was going to take it down, just get it in a skip while it's here. Might find something behind it, who knows? We shall see if there's anything. Absolutely nothing. So there you go. Apart from the smash step, which is why that staircase is coming out anyway. Right then, so that is all the digging done. We're very happy about it, aren't we, Rich?
Oh yeah. Before you do it.
You have to ruin it for me. Right then, so drainage. We're going to move on now, expose all that. Let's get on with it. Right then, stage 2, drainage. We need it all in before we start hardcoring. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail about this because we've done it all before. If any of you want any like how-to guide or anything like that, how to install underground pipe, do 110mm stuff, it's all in this video that we did last year. Everything's in there from tools and do's, don'ts, that sort of thing. So by all means, if you're interested in it, watch that one. Let's just crack on, shall we? Okay, this is your warning. There's a bit of talking coming up. You have been warned. Right then, all that is in, as much as I can do for now anyway. So let's talk you through it from the furthest point away. Toilet waste, middle of the room, obviously. It's a bit far back, far in I should say, from that wall there, but that wall's going to be brought forward, just so I've got more head height while bringing it out. It then comes round here where it branches off. I've utilised that hole in the wall. I don't know why that was there, to be honest with you, but utilised it to feed our wastes for our toilet sink and our, believe it or not, shower from the loft. It's got to come all the way through the house and down into there, in which case in a later video it'll all be explained. It's going to go that way and up past the stairs and up there. So, but I'll explain that in a, as I say, in a later video. So it comes down into there. The reason why that waste is on this side of the wall and on that side is because we're going to run with Richard's great idea, if I can step through, I wish I could claim it, but I can't, is by having that doorway built in an alcove out, a sink's width alcove, if you like. So that sink is well out of the way. Because the problem with downstairs toilets, when you try and shoehorn in one like this, is that if your door leads directly into the toilet face on, which ours is, so this door will open in or out towards that wall, the sink is going to be on the wall somewhere and it's in the way. And unless you have a really piddly little thing, pardon the pun, if you have something any size, you've got to go around it and it all becomes just a little bit awkward. Whereas by doing that, that keeps it well out of the way. Now, if I step through your configuration, is that you walk inside onto the toilet, it's easy because that door can open to the wall, whichever way you want it. The sink can be on the wall directly in front of the door, and then your natural path is to go straight round to the loo, so the sink isn't in the way. So that's the difference between the two. If you're thinking about doing something like this, it's far easier if you can go side onto the door, side onto where the toilet is. But you know, whatever, you got to work what you can get, haven't you? Reason why that works as well as alcove idea is because we're going to have wall-to-wall storage units here. So all that can be hidden behind it anyway. So it's a great idea. Thank you, Richard. So moving on from there then. Sorry if it's getting a bit shaky. Down we go, down we go, down we go. Now I'm in the utility now. That's where the sink's going to be. So that is the waste for that. Door's going to be over there. That's when this is gone, because as I say, I'm keeping that the emergency toilet. And to be honest, I'm having a lot of emergencies lately, so I need to keep that for as long as possible. That will be described a little bit later. It's got to come up here and up the wall, and I'm going to have another one up that wall up there. But I'll show you that as I'm when. And then it goes down, 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 and out into previously laid pipes. I'll explain that in a second. And then it just branches off to have our sink and dishwasher waste there. Now we're thinking that we're going to have a boiler similar to that one in either this run or that run. So then the condense pipe from that can go into that pipe as well, I believe, unless I'm wrong there regarding the regs. But if I am, I'll sort it. Right then, so how do you get your falls on this? Toilet foul waste should be a fall of 1 in 40. That means for every 40 inches you go across, it's got to come down 1 inch. Simple as that. Now, in new money, that's 40 inches is a metre and 1 inch is 25 mil. So all you do is, you've probably seen this 1,000 times, but I've been asked a couple of times, so I'll just very quickly show you. That level is a metre long, 40 inches. I've cut a block of 25 mil, which is 1 inch, and then you put it on the low end, and then all you try and do is get your level as possible. And you know now that is what you see, inch out of level, isn't it? So, and by doing that, just check that every now and again, and you know that for every 40 inches you go in 1 down. It's simple as that. Obviously, if you've got a 2 metre level, you do a 50 mil block or 2 inches, or you work it out to whatever you've got to work with. But there you go. It's all simple. Right then, whilst all this was going on, this happened, which has led to that. So now we're moving on to the hardcore. Right, believe it or not, there's 9 tonne out there, and it's all got to come in. 450 quid's worth of MOT type 1. So, right then, it can't just come in and get dumped willy-nilly. It needs to go to a level. So what I did earlier is set my layers level up on that bin over there, and I took a reading from the finished floor level, which I've got a little bit of tile sticking out over there. So I put that onto a staff, got it all nice and level when the beep goes constant, basically, and then marked it on the staff. Then I took the receiver off, and I went round and I marked wherever I could, a little mark on the wall on the same level all the way across, all the way around as far as I could. Then I just got a level out and I just joined the dots up, basically. So now I've got a nice level line all the way around. And the reason why I did this and not just marked the bottom of the wall, the finished floor level, is because, well, look what I'm drawing on. I'm drawing on some crappy bricks and I won't be able to see it, and it's low down. So have it all up means that the plaster's still on. Nice line, I can see it, it can stay there forever, so to speak, and I can measure off it. So where that now becomes important is, come over to your staff, and I've marked the top somewhere. Where are we? There you go. Always mark the top. There we have it. And that is where the receiver was level. So I've marked that, and then I've measured that from that point down to the bottom where it was on my trowel that you saw earlier. And that measurement is a very nice, clear and clean 450 millimeters. So to put that into a nice little diagram for you, this dotted line up here is the pencil line around the room, and then we know that from that pencil line down to our finished floor level is 450 mil. Okay, so now we've got to take into account floor coverings. Now here we're going to have some kind of vinyl, Condine type stuff, whatever it might be, and for that I've allowed 10 mil. And then after that, screed, which is 60 mil. I want to keep it as close to 60 mil as possible. Underneath that, there'll be insulation, which is 70 mil, because this is the old regs, because it was passed off years ago. And then below that, concrete, which I've allowed 100 mil. Now, the bottom of that concrete will be the top of our hardcore. Everything below that line is hardcore until it reaches the floor here. So adding all those up, the 450, the covering, the screed, the insulation, the concrete is 690 millimeters. So all I've got to do now is put the hardcore, bring it all in until the top of that hardcore is 690 millimeters from that line. That way then we know that we've got all these in check. 100 mil plus 70 plus 60 plus 10, which brings us all the way back up to our finished floor level. That's it. Now, as you can see, this has all been dug out and it's all over the place. I've tried to keep it as best as I can, but it's not going to be perfect. So if I'm deep in places, that's fine. More hardcore, that's all right. That's not an issue. Again, if I run out of hardcore, I can put a little bit more concrete in. Again, that's not an issue. But from that point on, I want to be as perfect as I can be, because I don't want to buy any more thicker insulation that I need to, because it's expensive. I don't want to put any thicker screed in, again, because it's expensive. I'll go into that in a second. And then I want to keep that 10 mil as possible. So any discrepancies need to be ironed out flat, quite literally, within the hardcore and the concrete phase of this. In between all this, there is a sand binding as well, but I'm not going to go into that because it's only a few mil and the membrane's got to go in, but that's all fine. We'll go into that. I'll show you that in a later date. So screed. Now then, this liquid screed, the minimum it can be is 41 millimeters. Anything less than that, it just won't hold. It'll all break up. And then anything over 41 up to 73 millimeters thick, it takes the drying rate is 1 millimeter per day. So by 60 mil, that's obviously 2 months drying time. Right, for it to be fully dry. You can walk in it within a couple of days, but fully dry, it's got to be, you've got to wait 1 mil a day. Anything over 73 mil, it's a millimeter every 2 days, so it doubles. So then you bang on 4 months for it to dry properly. You can force dry it and all that sort of stuff, but I don't want to do that. So that's what I want to keep it in as closely as possible, just to give us as least drying time as possible, whilst all keeping it nice drying out naturally, which we all know is better. So, right then, let's shift some hardcore. Well, there you go, 9 ton of hardcore, all in, all by myself. Looking out to where 9 ton once was, seeing nice clean boards. It's a good feeling. Turning round, doing some calculations and realising that you're 5 ton short, not so much of a good feeling. But not to worry, it's here. It's been delivered. I've gone for a recycled one this time because it's only a scattering on top really, all over. It turns out I got a little bit too happy digging out because you know this idea that I went through in great detail of putting a level line around and measuring down to the top of hardcore. Well, you could argue that I should have done that first, and then when I was actually digging out, I could dig down to an actual level and do it that way, which potentially to some may have made more sense, and potentially to some was the thing to do. But who's to say, eh? Who's to say? So there we have it. So more hardcore it is. It's not too bad actually. But we've had a unexpected and unwanted visitor. I'll go and get her attention, and I'll show you who it is. Look at this little beauty. Hey? She was running around outside in the road, which happens quite a lot because we live opposite some woods. So every now and again a dog runs out, but the owner usually follows it. So I picked it up thinking that was exactly what was going to happen. But nobody was there. No collar, no nothing. So I've walked the streets trying to find somebody looking for a dog. Nobody. Put her on Instagram. Although we've got next to no audience on that anyway, so that doesn't matter really, but I thought I'll try. Next door neighbour's on Facebook, so she's on there. They're trying to reunite back with her family, but there we go. No joy as yet. So unfortunately, I've had to phone the dog warden. I'll say unfortunately, because she's gonna be well looked after. The dog warden's coming for her, but he said that he'll be able to find out if she's microchipped or not. He's got all the gizmo or something in his van. So there we go. So unfortunately, I haven't been able to reunite her as yet, but she'll be well looked after, I dare say. Ah, she's lovely really. She's absolute crackers, but she's lovely. But there we go. Never a dull moment, eh? Right, it's the following day. The saga of the dog is sort of concluded. I'll give it a short story of it, a short version, I should say. 21 minutes after the dog warden came to pick it up, I checked my phone, I couldn't believe it. I heard this screechy, high-pitched, stressed out female voice outside. And I initially thought, oh, she's home early. But it wasn't her, it was this woman who could barely get her words out. Arguing with the fellow that she was with. You're not helping me, you're not helping me. He says, I am helping you. He said, but I need you to calm down so I can help you find your dog. I went, aha! So I shouted over. You lost the dog. Yeah, I come running over. I said, you missed it by 21 minutes. The dog warden took it. Of course then. How can this dog get any worse? I said, I'll tell you, you've got to go to Stoke to pick it up. That's where it's gone, unbelievably. So I tried to get in contact with the warden, but he phoned me on a private number, so I couldn't speak to him direct. I found Noah's Ark Environment Agency or something, whatever it was, the number I was given by the vets, to ask if they can get in contact with the warden, to get in contact with me. The owners are here. I haven't heard anything, but it's safe. It's all right. It's all gonna work out. I'm sure. I've no idea whether it's actually back home yet. I don't know. I've asked them to keep me in the loop, so to speak, but they haven't as yet. So who knows? But if I just let that dog run off, and then I'd heard her shouting outside, "Where's my dog? Where's my dog?" in the state that she was in, I think I'd. Yeah, so I'm glad I did what I did, even if it did take 5 hours to sort it out. But not to worry, not to worry. Right then, moving on. I'll turn you around, I'll show you today's plan, and we'll get something done. We are hardcore in here, and we are as bang on to level as I can be, according to my measurements anyway. All that is that's sorted. I've got them in here just to make today a little bit easier. Last thing get nice. So now it is D-Day for the B-Day. Ripping that out now, that's going. So I can get my drainage, link it all into here. I'll show you what that when I've done it. And hardcore all that, and then we're ready for an inspection. And then I'll get it all wackered, and then we'll carry on. Papa Bear is outside. There he is. He's now working on the stones, stripping all them back that are going to form the hearth from the fireplace. It's just below, but just behind, I should say, the insulation there. And then we've got Richard upstairs. I'll just quickly show what he's doing, because yesterday we are proud and pleased to announce that yesterday, there he is, Salah. There you go. Yesterday we finished the hard one job around the corner. We are done. We're out of there completely. So Mick and Rich finished the day off here, helping us get this extra bit of hardcore in. And then Rich is now upstairs. It's Friday today, so instead of having a day off, I've asked him to come upstairs and do some work up there, which I'll show you a little bit later. And I'm going to concentrate my efforts down here and finish this floor off. So, right then, hopefully we won't have any rogue animals today, and we'll be able to have a full day at doing something. Right then, let's get started. And I will just quickly add, it's a lovely day today. It's about the 3rd or 4th on the trot, to be honest. So for the first time this season, I've got my legs out, look, with some very new, brand new TIMCO shorts. What do you think about them, eh? They're all right, aren't they? They're lovely. Big thank you to Charlie at TIMCO. We've sorted out us a load of stuff, as Richard's gone through with in other videos, fixings and bits of tools and whatnot, hand tools, and yeah, and sent out some shorts as well. So thank you, Charlie, very much appreciated. I'll take them off now so I don't look a right knobber. Right in, let's get cracking. Well, as opponents go, that floor was a good one. Fair play to it, he put up a fight, but resistance is futile. It lost in the end. So all our drainage is now in, which I'm very happy about. Let's just talk through it. Might be a bit over-engineered, but basically the plan is that because we are a side or an end terrace, the side of our house is always on view. So having a load of pipes go through the side of the house and all down, it's all going to be a bit ugly from the side. So I've attempted to keep everything at least internal, so which is a bit of an afterthought, to be honest. So now where the toilet comes down, which is roughly where the end of those pipes are there, we're going to get it through and link it into this. That's just bodged in there for now, that's not housed or anything, let's just get it up and out of the way, just protects anything from falling into it. So the toilet's going to go through here a little bit and then down and into that, and then you flush the toilet and then whee, all the way down and out and gone. But by doing that, we're going to struggle to vent it. So this one here is the vent, and that's just going to come straight up. The reason why it hasn't gone straight into the corner is because it's going to come straight up between those two joists there and out, and then into this soil pipe, which is already there. Now that's just lashed on to the wall at the minute, just for a couple of screws, just to take the rainwater away. That's all that's doing, so that's temporary, but that can just be teed in, and then that made a bit neater. Still going to pick up the rainwater, then that can be going to vent up there, then that can be our vent. Now I know some of you don't like the fact that the rainwater goes into the fowl, and that's fair enough, but you can do it, it's in the rules, so that's just the way it is, I'm afraid. So that's what's going to happen there. So that's our vent. But what that also lets us do is have our washer and dryer there, and then the waste of which can go into that, which is why that's just teed off there. So that's pretty good. So that should be all right. And then also directly above there is our shower. and our shower can just come through the floor and then tap into wherever this soil pipe comes, up there, straight into it, and then that can go down there as well. So that's where it's vented. That's the main toilet, down, and away we go. Now I've tried my best to keep all that 1 in 40, and it's not far off at all actually. That's a million miles away from 40, it's way too steep, but that's just water. That's just from a sink and a dishwasher, so I'm not bothered about that. Just keep that up and just make that work for us, whatever. So there we have it. I've just extended that up, so that is the floor level's about there, so all that's out the floor. So that can be changed in the future if need be. That can be changed to a double, or it could just be popped off and used as a rodding point if there's any issues. I've, as you can see, got a rodding point there as well, and I've got one at the end of the run, which is up the front of the house, to do the run I've put in down there a couple of years ago. So it begs the question, why didn't I just go straight into the existing ones here and there, which comes out? I could have just tapped into them. The thing is, originally somewhere that goes into clay and it's been changed into plastic somewhere along its lifetime. I don't know how it's been done. I'm not going to dig it out and expose it. There could be hairline cracks in the clay. So because I'm unsure, and this is a page one, rewrite the entire job, just redo it all in plastic, so we're good. So they're just going to get capped off at that level, and then the one behind this wall also, and then just gone over, and that'll be the end of that. Now we do get a lot of comments whenever we do drainage, you know, and some of it's quite negative and whatnot, but it's real world, man. This is how we got to do it. The building inspector's coming tomorrow. He's all booked in, so he's going to cast his eye over it, and if he's happy, then I'm going to be happy. So that's just the way it is. But as always, give us your comments, because you know, they'll be met head on, and I might learn something from them. You never know. So then, right, all I'm going to do now, level that off. This hardcore that I bought in yesterday, got a lovely array of colours here in the buckets, haven't I? They can go. Bring that up to level. I've got that boiler out the way, clear that area. That can be brought up to level. Ready for the inspector tomorrow to have a look. And then we're ready for concreting, which is very, very exciting. Right, let's crack on. Right, just leaving for the day. And I noticed that the skip that was there is gone. Nothing to do with me. But either that fell off, or it's been left by the side of it and not picked up by the skip bloke. Anyway, the point is, what's the betting that that is in that next time I'm here? We shall see. Right then, it's following day. No paint. My faith in humanity has been restored. Right, so I've been in and out all morning, just popping to get some stuff, and I'll do not believe that just happened. Right, now what? Oh, give me a minute. Well, a curveball that I didn't need, that is just sheared off. Hey, can you see that? That is way in there. I don't know if you can see it or not. Which isn't an issue, because I have every tool under the sun which will help me break into my own house. The problem is that they're all behind that door. Right, think. Once again, give me a minute. Right, well, two things. First and foremost, that was 10 minutes out of my life that could have been spent better elsewhere. And secondly, that was ridiculously easy to break into. I'm going to film myself doing that once I've got my new door on, just to show you. And just to be careful really with with your security. Yeah, that really was stupidly easy and extremely quiet as well. So, well, use that one as well as that one, because we haven't up to now, and well, looks like we've been lucky. Anyway, as I say, I've been in and out all morning. I've had to hire that. I've got a perfectly good, fantastically ace whacker plate of my own that I own, but it's petrol like most of them are, and because I don't fancy filling this house full of petrol fumes or next door neighbour for that, I'm going to hire that this electric one. Well, which we'll see. We'll see. It's heavy enough, so should do a good job. Just had a tidy up, got all this stuff out of the way, and the plan for today is to sand that gets delivered in the bits, whacker it, blind it all with sand, and then cover it with the polythene or membrane, whatever you want to call it, ready for the concrete, which is hopefully tomorrow if the inspector passes everything, and he is coming today as a as yet undisclosed time. I have capped these off. The thing I just popped out for, I'll show you in a second. This was plastic down into plastic, so I just dug it out, pulled it out, and then put a cap, popped a cap in its ass down there. That then just gets buried and then done. I was hoping to buy a female cap and cut it off just at ground level and cap it over, but they ran out down the road, so plan B, I had to dig it back out, but it didn't take too long. Over here, this justifies my decision to go all new and not go into existing, because a quick tap around has shown, I don't know if you can see that, but the black plastic pipe, which is actually grey painted black existing soil pipe, just butt joints onto the original clay pipe there, and then just compoed around, as you can see. So crap really. So I'm going to cap this off properly, which means that my male cap wouldn't work, because I couldn't just pull that out, because then there was no plastic cap to put it into. So I've cut it off as low as I can. I've put one of these unions on, which just joins 210mm pipes together. Pop that over, and then this little bad boy goes on top. Give it the old push it home. There she is. She's nice and tight. A bit of pea gravel around that, around both of them. Bury them, gone and forgotten. Right then, so let's whacker that, wait for the sand, and do what we've got to do. Rightio then, everything's falling into place finally. A little bit later in the day than I would have liked, but that's just the way it is sometimes. Inspector's been and gone, he's happy. I'll turn you around, I'll show you where his little concerns were, what the plan is. Well, as you've seen, the sand got delivered, little parking space opened up just at the nick of time, just to get it in there. So it's exactly where we want it, so that's all worked out beautifully. Where the building inspector, the only concern he had a good look round. And it's, to be honest with you, it's the same old issue that they all say really. It's the angle of the bends when it goes from vertical into your horizontal. They do like, and I get it, it's a whole big sweeping 90 just to keep that bend just as shallow as possible, but it's not always possible really. Now in this case it was. I could have got one, but then I mean it would have been out of the floor considerably, I think, really. Certainly would have been in the insulation, which would have been a nightmare. It would have come out to about there, because they're a metre long. It would have meant changing all this, and to be honest, I haven't got an issue with that angle. I know a lot of people do, they get a knickers and twist about it. Oh, the solids are going to get stuck there because the water goes first and all that stuff, and yeah, I get it. However, I've never had an issue with it ever, with what we've done, and we've never put a tight 90 on it. It has always been as shallow as we possibly can, with the confines of what we can, you know, of where we can fit it. So I haven't got a problem with it, and as I pointed out to him, I've got an insurance policy there anyway with a rodding, an access point, and he went, okay, fair enough, and he let that one slide. I do understand it, but at the same time, I think it's all a bit of a, you know, you can go a bit too far with it, providing you haven't got a male 90 in it, and it's just like a hockey stick, you know. I get it. Anyway, moving on. As I say, we're all whackered. That thing's ace. Yes, in an age where we're trying to get rid of cables, it's got a cable attached to it, and that's a bit of a nightmare. But it's all right, man. You haven't got to worry about fuel. You haven't got to worry about the mix of the oil for it. You haven't got to. You can't flood it. It's more or less guaranteed to work. Just one button, boom, it's on. It's ace. It's a bit faster as well than the other one. So yeah, I'm quite happy. I was quite impressed. I thought it being, you know, corded and electric, it might be a bit piddly, but far from it. It's ace. Right then, so what we're going to do now is what's called blinding. Lovely bit of blinding, if you know, you know. Where it is just a thin layer of sand on top of compacted hardcore, and then your membrane on top of that. And the idea is that that layer of sand acts as a bit of a cushion. So when you pour your concrete, it doesn't compress down onto anything sharp, i.e. The stones, and splits the membrane. I think for that to happen, I think it's a bit of an overthink, really. I just can't see the compression weight of the concrete splitting the membrane. So I think it's a bit of a nonsense, to be honest with you, because if you drop anything on it, it's going to go through anyway. And just the compression of that, nah, I don't get it. But I mean, a way around that, surely, if you're worried, would be to double membrane it, because it's 1200 gauge. You know, it's thick stuff. It's not, you know, you're not masking off a decorator or anything like that. That'll take some compressing, that will. And you can drop anything on anything, and it's going to damage it and go through. But in terms of just the compression, I don't know. But you've got to do it, and I wouldn't not do it. So I'll jump through the hoops. But you know, it's like a vertical damp. Don't get it. Anyway, I'm not going to film it because what's the point? I will take photos. I'll put the photos on the screen now, which I've got to do to show the building inspector. And yeah, and we'll get it all membraned, ready for the concrete. Well, there's no two ways about it. That took ages and a lot of polythene. For all the will in the world, if you just open this out in one go and just try and tuck it into the corners in an awkward shaped room like this, you're not going to be able to. I mean, you can do it, but by the time you've gone into that corner, then like this one will all be all over the place. And so I've decided to use more polythene than I really need to, and I've cut a metre long strip all the way around, got really into the corners the best I can, because I don't want it to curl up and then be a void behind it. So I've got into there nice and tight all the way around, and then gone down the middle with one big piece. Well, I say one big piece. One big piece is in each room. And then when you're doing it by yourself as well, it's a bit awkward trying to pull it tight, because by the time you've got one side around that corner, that loosens up and then blah, blah, blah. So it's a bit baggy down here. I'm just going to get rid of that, tape that over for no real reason whatsoever, just for my own real peace of mind. And it's all done down there as well. So we're waiting now, just waiting for the concrete to turn up. I'm going to tape up all the joints as well. Again, don't really need to, but I'm going to. Why not? Yeah. Wait for the concrete. Now, they ain't going to mess around when they're here. I've got an awkwardly parked car just there. I'm hoping to get that moved. I don't know whose it is though, but fingers crossed I can. So they're just going to park up here and pump it straight in. And ain't going to mess around, as I say. So I'll try and get some footage of it, but it's going to be all systems go. But yeah, we're nearly there. We have very nearly got the flooring. Oh, it's all very exciting. Right, as predicted, concrete lads have turned up, both together, which is pretty unusual. So they're obviously in a rush. Usually it's the pump comes half hour before the concrete, but the concrete got here 5 minutes before the pump this time. So which means it's all systems go more than usual, doesn't it, Rich?
Flat out. Flat out. Really busy.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So we're only expecting them to be here about, I don't know, 20 minutes, we shall see. But we've only been here 5 minutes up to now. Yeah, go for it. So I'm going to put you on time lapse. Can't really film it because, well, as you know, they don't hang around. So, right, let's go for it. And there we have it. I've just checked my phone and I phoned Mindy, the gaffer of the company, just to ask where the pump was, only because we live close to a school and it gets madness out here, and it was getting close to a silly hour. But and that was 56 minutes ago, so that's when the pump wasn't here, and they've gone. And it's in, and it's lovely. And I'm very, very happy because that is a huge milestone reached. Well, I think that's as good as place as any to leave it, don't you? So I couldn't film that, it's just frantic when they turn up. Your preparation is key with this, and you can say that about anything. Of course, it makes the process run smoother, doing as much prep as you can. But you've got to be prepared for them, because they turn up, they shout at you for 15 minutes, you don't quite know what's going on, you're all spun round. Within 45 minutes, thousands of pounds have gone out your account, and you've got concrete on the floor and they're gone. You just think, what the hell's happened? But it just works, it's ace. So I'd always recommend them. I'll put their name and number on the screen now, and in the description if you need any concrete pumping, or not pumping, they do both, and screed as well, they do. So yeah, I can't recommend them enough. Now I'm always amazed what you lot pick up on. And it's ace, because we all, you know, it's always, oh, just do this, you do that. We love it, we really do. So I'm going to come out now and preempt. Some of you may have noticed that I was wearing my wife's leopard skin wellies during that process. What can I tell you? I forgot mine. They were here. Strange enough, they fit. What does that tell you? But anyway, so we'll leave it there. I don't know when the next one's going to be out, because again, I like to finish on a having accomplished something, rather than just do a week of work and not really have anything to show for it in terms of a video. So maybe underfloor heating, who knows? We will let that dry out for a bit, and we will play forward and we'll see where we are. So once again, thanks for watching, and see you next time, whenever that will be.